Hello? Test, test, test. How's the audio? Should be good. It's right up in my mouth hole. Oh, I'm gonna have to mute this on a couple of different... Mute. All right. I'm not really sure what that dude's problem was, but he's claiming I told him to go short. Interesting. Anyway, yeah, so let's go ahead and talk about this market, because I see a few really good setups right now that you know, it's across the market for Bitcoin, for Ether, for EOS, for Bitcoin Cash. Quite a few altcoins are set up, and they look like they're just waiting for Bitcoin to move. So let's go ahead and talk about Bitcoin first, and then we'll move into a couple of different alts, and we'll actually take some requests from people who have some coins that they're watching. But before we do that, let's go ahead and zoom out and talk about it from a macro perspective. So let's get rid of the B bands here. Oh yeah, my fibs actually stayed on here, so that's good. Okay, so the daily candles are actually looking pretty interesting right now. You can see here that it's been in a really tight range for the past, I don't know, almost a week at this point, right? And it hasn't really seen much sway in price, so that means it's consolidating, which is good. Another side note here, I don't know if you guys read my Ether USD analysis for Bitcoin Magazine, but I noted that Ether was sitting on top of the 50 and the 200 EMA, and Bitcoin's obviously doing the same here. So it's tested it quite a few times, and it's sitting right on top of the 200 EMA and the 50 EMA. And the longer it stays above the 200 EMA, the more and more likely this golden cross is to take place, probably in the next couple of days or so. Then if the price rallies, then obviously it'll happen sooner. But right now, volume's consolidating, price is consolidating, and it's sitting right on top of the 200 EMA, which is very bullish. This is the first time we've seen first time we've seen Bitcoin actually find support on the 200 EMA. For the past few months, it's actually hasn't had every test it's had of the 200 EMA basically since December. I guess February, right? We've seen a couple of tests, but it has not provided good support. And most recently, it's been resistance. Over the past few days, it's been support, where previously it would have broken through. Now it's finding support and it's consolidating. So there's a lot of bullish news on that front. If we're looking at just the Bollinger Bands, we see that the market is consolidating. The Bollinger Bands look very bullish right now. So not only do we see consolidation on top of the 250 EMA, but we also see consolidation above the midline of the B bands, the daily B bands, and we haven't even seen an attempt to go down to the midline. So it's consolidating like right in this upper corner, and the B bands are coming together really nicely. You can see that they're starting to squeeze, and you know, we see the B band squeeze with the volume and price consolidation. This thing's ready for a big move. Whether it goes up or down remains to be seen, but my money's on it going up. If we look on lower time frames, we see it consolidating in a pretty clean bull pennant. Let's go here. We see it consolidating in a pretty clean bull pennant on like the 2-hour time frame, which is the first time we've seen an actual like bull pennant play out in a while. But you know, the bull pennant looks something like this. We draw a line here and a line here. We see the volumes consolidating, price is consolidating, and it's got a really decent pull from here to here. So this is like a 2K move. So if this breaks out, you know, we could see a retest of the top of the trading range. If this breaks out of this bull pennant and we actually go to the top of the trading range, we could see a test of the previous highs, you know, maybe these macro fibs somewhere up here. If this breaks out to the top, we can expect, you know, so current price is 9.1. So 9.2 plus 2K, you know, somewhere in the 11K range. It's going to be up here testing this previous high. So for the time being, it looks very bullish. A lot of support being found. Volume is consolidating, which indicates reaccumulation, right? Higher lows are being found, lower highs, right? So bull pennant. And yeah, the volatility is starting to die down. So this looks like it's sprung for a move, you know, anytime between now and the next day or two. I'm expecting to see a pretty sizable move in any direction. I'm waiting for, currently I'm long, obviously, but I'm waiting to enter my leverage long. You know, I'm waiting to see if it breaks back down and retests this pennant. And if it does, this is going to be, if we find support here, that's going to be my my signal to, you know, put a little bit more money on the table and go long. And of course, unless you've been living under a rock for the past few weeks, the alts are rallying. So with Bitcoin looking like it's ready for a move up, I expect the alts to follow suit. So we're seeing, you know, a pretty good indication that an upward move is likely. And then for those who like to play with the Wyckoff stuff, this is my current trading range that I have now. It's a reaccumulation trading range. The red marks where the supply is present, which just so happens to coincide with a breakout here. So with this move and this move here, we cleared out a lot of supply. You can see here that the sell volume is starting to die down, you know, here, here, and here. And then, of course, with the reaccumulation, typically if there's supply here, we see one final test of the lower range to see how much demand there is. And sure enough, the demand showed up here. So as we pushed back down out of the supply area, we found support, you know, on this little like trend line here, the lower area of the B bands, which, I'm sorry, lower area of the trading range, which also happens to be like a macro fib. So a lot of support down here. Even if it does break down, I wouldn't expect to see a clean breakdown. There's just too much support, both with the 50 and the 200 daily EMA, the B-band daily midline. Like there's very firm support down there. So I'm totally expecting a break upward. And with this consolidation of volume with the price, it looks like textbook reaccumulation trading range. Initially, I thought it was a distribution, as it looked kind of like a double top, a potential like Adam and Eve double top, where you have like a high peak here and then a rounding top here. But the volatility is dying down. It looks really great. We do see like on a lower time frame, like 15/30 minute time frame, you know, we do see this like rising wedge sort of thing. So maybe we'll see, what I'm hoping to see is a breakdown of this to retest the lower boundary of the pennant, so I can take a nice long. But if not, I'm just gonna wait for a breakout of here, and you know, a nice sign of volume. You know, something like this is going to give me confidence. You know, something with high volume like this and good follow through, that's going to give me confidence that the move is sponsored, right? Well, like we want to enter in sponsored moves, meaning that the composite operator is has a vested interest in this going up, and a nice sign of that is going to be a nice injection of volume there. So that's my current view on Bitcoin. I just ran through a lot, so let's answer some questions here. Start from the bottom. Isn't a rising wedge near the end of the trading range a signal of CO strength? Yeah, it totally can be. Rising wedges have, like, if you look at Bulkowski's like database that he has for patterns, rising wedges have a horrible performance rating. So I think it's like marginal. If at best, it's like maybe 50 to 60% of the time they actually break down. So there's a high probability that they actually break up. They're really unreliable patterns, but I mean, there's a pattern nonetheless, so we got to keep an eye on that. How do you differentiate between reaccumulation and distribution? Yeah, so that's a good question. So typically, with distribution, it starts out very volatile and it ends very volatile. So like with the, I'll show you a distribution trading range to give you an example. So here's an example of redistribution here. So we see with the redistribution / distribution trading range, it begins and ends with volatility. We don't see volume consolidating, and we see price just remaining volatile throughout the whole length of the trading range. So we see it just continuously stopping people out by making 100% retracements, you know, something like this, where it goes up and comes down, it goes up and comes down, and then eventually it just dumps out, right? But with reaccumulation / accumulation, this also applies with accumulation, you see, let's see here. So here's a reaccumulation trading range, pushing up into another reaccumulation trading range. And what we see to be the common thread here is that it doesn't always have to follow this trend of higher lows, you know, something like this. But that's a nice added degree of confidence that we see higher lows indicating that supply is being absorbed. Because if we think about like what reaccumulation is and what accumulation is, it's the attempt by the composite operator to reclaim market control of loose supply. So you got to just think from like a fundamental perspective. As the price goes up, you know, there's gonna be layers and layers of people that are like, okay, I'm gonna take profit here, I'm gonna take profit here, I'm gonna take profit here. But if the CEO has a vested interest in it pulling up, he's going to push the price to a certain level, shake everyone out between here and here, push up to the next level, shake everyone out from here to here. So that's what we see here, right? So we push the price up, absorbed all the supply, push the price up to the next level, he's absorbing all the supply, and now we're most likely going to see another push upward to maybe a distribution, maybe reaccumulation. That remains to be seen, but at the moment it's looking pretty bullish for a continuation of the uptrend at the moment. It's going to get, you know, I told you guys last stream that in this price level, in this price level, you know, right around here, that it's going to get turbulent. And that's going to be a point of evaluation, right? So I did initially short, you know, somewhere in here. I longed somewhere in here, and right now I'm out of position. I'm unmargined long, but I'm looking to go margin long if I get a good setup. If not, then I'll just sit on margin. I have no problem doing that. But you know, last time we had the stream, I told you in this price band right here, it's going to get volatile, and it'll be a point of evaluation. And that's what we're seeing right now. So the volatility is dying out, which is great for the bulls. The supply is drying up, which is not so great for the bears. And yeah, the demand's starting to take precedence. And it just looks like a very classic, clean bull pennant here. Volume's consolidating very nicely in the 4 hour. And yeah, I do expect that, you know, if we do break up, once we get up into this area in here, it's going to be another point of evaluation where we could see another round of distribution before another pull down, or a reaccumulation and pushing upward. Personally, at the moment, I'm leaning toward a continuation of the uptrend if we break up and get up in here, because we see that the you know, the 200 EMA and the 50 EMA are ready to cross golden cross, which is on the daily is a very bullish sign. That's going to signal another round of buyers to enter the market. That's going to give them confidence in a resumption of the uptrend, and things are going to get interesting. But you know, we got to take it trading range by trading range here, and not just assume it's going to go parabolic. You know, we're not in that sort of mindset yet. We're doing it in a stepwise fashion. So we're going to take this price level, evaluate, take this price level, evaluate, take this price level, evaluate. And if we move up, we're going to evaluate, and if we move down, evaluate here, right? So we got to keep an eye on it. But overall, it's looking really bullish because, you know, we broke the downtrend. Here we cleanly broke the downtrend. We're consolidating in a bullish pattern outside of this supply area. So a lot of the supply has been absorbed, and you know, we just gotta, like I said, we gotta take it stepwise. If we manage to break out above this double top here and find support, that is like very, very, very bullish. That's like, for me, that's going to be a slide all my loose change onto the board and let it ride kind of situation. But for right now, I'm still I'm bullish with a skeptical eye. So take that from the quote unquote perma bear that everyone likes to say that I am, but I'm actually bullish on Bitcoin and a lot of the alts right now. And we'll talk about the alts here in a second. But before we do that, do you guys have any questions about the Bitcoin stuff? Could it be a head and shoulders formation within the pennant? Head and shoulders. Where? It's one of this, where it's like shoulder, head, shoulder. So typically head and shoulders are reversal patterns. Although it looks like a head and shoulders, so we don't really see a reversal opportunity, right? Because it's like at baseline, it makes a head and shoulders. I guess you can make an argument for that. If the price does break down to this level, we'll have to watch it, because that's obviously a breakdown of the continuation pattern. That would, yeah, it's hard to tell, but for the time being, like, I don't like to play reversal setups in non-reversal situations. So I don't like to play head and shoulders setups in a sideways market. That just, sometimes you just get anomalies like that that just make it look like a setup that isn't really a very good setup. Now, if this was an uptrend going into a head and shoulders pattern, that's a different story. But a sideways market going head and shoulders, not my favorite setup to play. If Bitcoin goes on a run, what do you think will happen to Ether and alts? I remember last year alts were crashing when Bitcoin went up. Okay, so altcoins were only crashing when Bitcoin went up parabolically. If you recall, Ether had a very massive run, right, from like $20 to $400 when Bitcoin was just slowly climbing up. If Bitcoin does the slowly climbing up game, I think that's more bullish for alts than if Bitcoin just does like this crazy run, because then that's going to suck all of the capital from the other alts and they're going to throw it into Bitcoin because it's outperforming them. But yeah, it doesn't seem like that's, you know, if it does a steady climb, that's bullish for the alts in my opinion. Oh, thanks for the explanation. This makes more sense since it's parabolic versus slow rise. Yeah, exactly. So that's the key there. And if we look back on Bitcoin history, right, until it really started taking off around like 4.4K, the alts were doing really, really well. It was when it broke this level here that the alts started to underperform Bitcoin, and that's when the Bitcoin pairs for the alts started to see their downturns, was right around here, because that's where, you know, Bitcoin entered its hypodermic trend where it broke loose of the linear and parabolic trend. But, you know, steady rise is bullish for alts. It's bullish for altcoins across the board, just in general. Oh, nice. I got a subscription on Twitch. I'm streaming on Twitch, by the way. So if you guys like to watch on Twitch versus YouTube, I'm also streaming on Twitch there too. But I just got a sub by Mecha Negra. Thanks, bud. All right. So do you guys want to talk about some of the alts? I feel like I covered this about as much as you can cover it. Adam and Eva. So, okay, let's talk about Ether first. Ether is, you know, if you read my article that I wrote yesterday, I'm not going to say anything new, but I'll go ahead and rehash it. So Ether is seeing same sort of deal. So it's seeing a pennant here, volumes consolidating, and here's the price target right here. If this thing breaks north, it should see a test of like the 870s, you know, low 900s, somewhere in here. You know, this general like band of prices, and here's where we're expecting Ether to go. And it makes sense because there's most likely going to be resistance there because that's where the really big downturn took place. But I'm expecting it to, if it breaks north, to go up and test that price level up there. And if we look at the daily pattern, let's look at the macro. We see the same sort of deal with the EMAs. So the EMAs, it's found support on the 250, and yeah, the daily B bands are just consolidating here. So we're actually just playing the waiting game here. But yeah, you know, they're fairly consolidated, not super consolidated. Like we don't see a squeeze like what we do here. But, you know, if we're looking at the BBW here, it's like, it's a decent level of consolidation. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a breakout here, even with the B bands consolidated where they are now. But yeah, things are looking good on Ether USD and on the BTC pair as well. So if we disregard these wicks from those crazy drops, we see a fairly clean ascending triangle here, which is another form of reaccumulation. We see volume consolidating. We see the higher lows here, obviously disregarding this wick, depending on how you want to look at this. But if you disregard this wick, which was, you know, just a freak accident, not a freak accident, but you know, an isolated event, then you know, this looks like a really good case for reaccumulation here, which would have a decent price target. It would be, let's measure it here. You know, a forecasted move, you know, 8.4 Satoshis. So, I'm sorry, 8,400 Satoshis. So it's got a really good measured move here. So there's a good argument for Ether having a bullish continuation as well. You guys have any questions about Ether right now? Don't you mean hyperbolic instead of hypodermic, which means to pierce the skin? No. A hypodermic trend it's meant to sound like it's piercing the skin. A hypodermic trend is a breakout of the parabolic trend. So if we look at the daily, it's supposed to look like a needle. It's called a hypodermic trend. That's not a mischaracterization. So if we look at like the parabolic envelope, which is this black envelope here, the hypodermic trend is where it breaks up like a needle, a straight line breakout of a parabolic trend. So it's like a parabolic trend's going this way, and we see a breakout that way, which is meant to be like, you know, it's piercing the skin. It's a breakout of a parabolic trend. That's actually a technical term, the hypodermic trend. Everyone's all over Litecoin. Why is everyone? That's really interesting. There are better charts than Litecoin, but we'll look at it. So Litecoin, USD. Okay, so Litecoin USD is looking like a giant triangle here. Has yet to break its supply line, but you know, it's not the worst looking chart ever. Looks like it's ready to break out though. Something like that. Yeah, this actually has a really big measured move, doesn't it? 285, Jesus Christ. So if this moves up from 285, that's like, what is that? A $400 price target? Somewhere up here? In the 400s, if it breaks out from here. So this is the USD pair and BTC pair. Yeah, BTC pair is pretty ugly, isn't it? So it kind of looks like reaccumulation, but the volume is off. Oh, this is Binance. Let's find a. Okay, there we go. I knew I had a chart labeled somewhere. So this looks like a reaccumulation. In my opinion, this looks like reaccumulation. So, you know, know, something like this. I don't know why my okay, this is the trading range I have for Litecoin BTC, but in my opinion, it looks like reaccumulation with us currently being in the creek. And this, in my opinion, again, this looks like last point of support. So this would be LPS. This honestly looks really similar to the silver. I don't know if you guys track silver, you know, silver, the metal silver, not the whatever. But this looks like last point of support, which means that this is potentially a really great long entry on the BTC pair. So we see, higher lows, which is really great for last point of support. We see volume consolidation leading into last point of support. And even the last point of support is consolidating here. We see a couple of different tests of this upper area, you know, up in here to test supply, and the supply is dwindling. So this, I might go long on this actually. This looks really great for a long-term play. This looks like a really great entry. So yeah, thanks whoever asked me to do this, because I haven't looked at this chart in a bit. But yeah, this looks like a great long entry. Pretty clear reaccumulation here. And then watch it like just completely dump and I just lose my ass. But you know, sometimes you win some, you lose some. But right now this is a really great setup. The higher lows is really great. We're currently at the bottom of the last point of support, which means that I bet if we see a Bitcoin breakout, we see a Litecoin breakout that pushes the price up with a lot of volume, like something like this. Or something like this, where we see just a strong injection of volume that propels us out of the trading range. So I'm actually gonna take a long here. This is that's a great chart here. Litecoin, Bitcoin. LTC BTC chart on the daily and weekly. Does it look like larger accumulation since 2 years top? On the Litecoin daily. Yeah, it does. It does look like a larger accumulation. You know, with the trading range being something like this, I'm assuming is the argument. Something like that. Yeah, it looks like a large-scale reaccumulation. With this being like a spring, for sure. Yeah, I see that argument. But yeah, at the moment, this looks like a great buy for the BTC pair. BCH, yeah, for sure, BCH. So let's move over to here. Let's do BCH. Let's do the USD pair first, and we'll do BTC pair, because the USD pair is a little easier to see. So the BCH looks like a reaccumulation. Or accumulation. It depends on how you want to look at it. You could argue accumulation, but reaccumulation, tomato, tomato. One really bullish sign for BCH right now, aside from the fact that it's testing the upper boundary of the trading range, which this should be preliminary support right here. Prelim support. This guy. If we break this, this is like all systems go bullish run here, because One thing that's really great to see that we really want to see for this pair, for it to have a bullish breakout, is sponsorship, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. So we see consolidation of volume leading up to the spring. Spring comes up, it tests the low, it finds support, you know, with this little bullish consolidation here, and then boom, really takes off. Volume's expanding on the rally. This is great. This is CO sponsorship. CO sponsor ship, which means that they have a vested interest in it going up, and everyone who has BCH is smiling. So this looks really great on the BTC, on the USD pair. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the BTC pair. BTC pair on the 4 hour as well. So 4 hour is not as clean, but you know, we see a similar trend. I say it's not as clean because, you know, the trading range isn't as clear. The USD pair clearly has a lot more. The support and resistance levels are a lot more clear and well defined. I'm currently watching this level right here, and a breakout of this would signal a long entry for me. I missed this entry right here like a dummy. I was doing shit yesterday, and I even posted a chart on Twitter yesterday, and I should have entered long there, but I was just being lazy and running around, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll get to it. And then I woke up today and it just took off. So that's all right. There's plenty of room to get in on this move here. Nice Litecoin review. Thanks. You're welcome. Oh, this guy saw it on Twitter. Yeah, I should have followed my own fucking advice. I posted that, and then I wrote an article for Bitcoin Magazine, and I just completely forgot about it, honestly. And I just started, you know, and then I went, yeah, just, I don't really have a good excuse. I just was lazy, and that's okay. This Litecoin chart has me really excited. I'm gonna really sink my teeth into that one over on the BitMEX. So yeah, you guys want to see OMG. Is this one that I need to relabel this? So this is Neo and OMG. Okay, I need to rename this. Okay, so OMG is here, USD, BTC. Okay, let's look at OMG. Oh my God. If I remember correctly, the BTC chart looks better than the, yeah, okay, so here's my trading range for OMG right now. That was weird. Okay, so here's my trading range here. Let's go ahead and look at it. So this looks like a reaccumulation, but there's not a whole lot of follow through on this. So we could see a revisit of the lows here on the BTC pair. We do see a little bit of a spring sort of thing here with a good jump across the creek, but not a whole lot of follow through. What does the USD pair look like? What is this? This is the 12 hour. It's the daily. This is my old trading range here. OMG USD is not the cleanest right now. Not the cleanest right now. I don't see a very good setup personally. You know, maybe you guys do, but I don't see a very good setup personally for OMG. EOS, on the other hand, if you guys want to talk about EOS, we can talk about EOS. Because it's looking crazy right now. So if we're looking at, if we look at the macro fibs, super clean, like super clean fibs right now. We see it tagging each one, just boom, 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 boom. And what I've always said is that if a run is very bullish, the most it'll usually retrace is 38%. And sure enough, it tagged it right here and is consolidating in volume. I thought it would have more pullback than this because I thought Bitcoin, you know, a few days ago, I thought Bitcoin would see a little deeper pullback, and I was hoping to get a better entry on EOS, but it never really came. So let's take a look at the B bands. The 4 hours starting to squeeze. The 6 hours looking real nice. Volume's consolidating, starting to get a really nice squeeze. It dipped below the midline and it's just sitting right on top of it. And how does the 12 hour look? 12 hours got some room for, so this actually might consolidate a bit longer, which is totally understandable. It just had like some insane rally. So a bit of consolidation would probably do it good. Maybe make a larger consolidation pattern of some sort, but EOS is known for just like spontaneous crazy runs. So I wouldn't be surprised to just see it take off without proper consolidation. But the longer the consolidation, the more confidence you have in a sustained move, because that means the CO has an opportunity to reclaim supply. So more consolidation is going to be bullish. How does the 1 day look? 1 day, the B bands are starting to cool off. How does the yeah, so the 250 EMA looking very bullish right now, both trending upward. It is pretty overbought at the moment. How does the cloud look? Well, it's not actually not looking that bad. It came down, it found support on the fast moving average. This is actually looking like really bullish. I take back what I was saying. So it's finding support. Man, yeah, this is looking really bullish. Once it broke through that cloud, it was just like all systems go. You can see that the volume just really picked up, and that's where the real rally started taking place, and it's just been tracking the Tenkan. What's the, you guys keep talking about the shorts versus longs. Okay, the shorts versus longs on Bitcoin. So let's look at it from a macro perspective, like 6 hour or so. So shorts and longs are going down. So what does that mean? It means there's not a whole lot to squeeze out of this, which means that this is more organic volume than inflated margin supply. In my opinion, this bodes bullish. It shows that, you know, the short sellers are losing confidence, but also the longs are consolidating. You can see here throughout the length of this pennant, the longs. This is the pennant right here. The longs have been going down. So that means that, you know, consolidation is taking place, which is good. We want to see consolidation if we want to see an upward move. So, in my opinion, this trend right here is bullish. The shorts have stopped to increase. So we can see here, if we zoom out, the short trend has been increasing throughout the life of this market, and now they're starting to go down. So, in my opinion, that's bullish. In my opinion, I'm not really sure what else to say about that other than that both longs and shorts are going down. So there's less volatility to be expected because there's less margin to be liquidated, and it's more organic supply coming to the market and less speculative margin, you know, doing like these crazy candles like this. So people are wanting to see 0x. Oops. How do you search 0x? Why is it not letting me? Am I just being an idiot right now? All right, in the meantime, TGB. Oh, nice, got another sub on Twitch. Dude, I neglected Twitch for a while. But yeah, thanks for the sub, dude. Appreciate that. Digibyte Bitcoin. Yeah, okay. So yeah, we're seeing a recurring pattern here. This is looking very bullish. This looks like reaccumulation. We're seeing sponsorship return to the market. You know, if we look at it at this level, it doesn't look like shit because of this crazy amount of volume. But you know, if we look at it on like a more normalized perspective, then it actually looks pretty good. So Digibyte looks very good. It looks like a reaccumulation trading range that broke out right around here. You know, if we're looking at it like from, you know, something like that. Something like this would be the trading range. And it broke out here. It's had a couple of retests and it's moving upwards. So this looks very bullish for Digibyte. ZRX. Oh, that's Jesus Christ, of course. There's so many coins, I just forget their ticker. Oh, what the fuck is this? I'm not really sure what to make of this one. It's kind of just doing its own thing, isn't it? Just climbing up. It's had a really good run. Yeah. It is encountering likely resistance here because this was the distribution area. So you might see a little bit of a pullback, which is good if you're looking for an entry, but yeah, it looks pretty healthy to me. I mean, nothing crazy volatile, just a slow, steady climb on consistent volume. It's about all you could ask for out of a, you know, a slow climb is the best climb. The volatile stuff is the one that has the highs and lows and fake outs and shit like that. So check out Nano. Here we go. I've been waiting to get in on Nano for a while. So Nano looks like it's about to break out of a trading range as well. Looks like accumulation, if you ask me. So, you know, the trading range would be something like this. With this being a really nice spring. So if you caught that, kudos to you. And this would be the trading range. So it's currently showing its sign of strength right now. You know, in the form of a nice bull pennant. Boom, boom. Right around, so this is preliminary support. This would be your selling climax. Preliminary support, selling climax, automatic reaction. This would be, you know, like one band of the trading range. And this would be, you know, the lower, like sometimes you see this like tiered kind of thing with trading ranges. It's not usually, sometimes it's not as clean as just like one solid channel. Sometimes you see like little bands, where like this whole thing could be considered the spring, I guess, where it's like a shakeout and then it pops up, or a nested shakeout where it pops up and then goes down and then really rallies. But yeah, so like this is like the lower like band where this is, you know, the spring. But yeah, Nano's looking great. Great buy here on the BTC pair on Binance. So This looks like a great entry here. It's like right on the tail end of this bull pennant consolidation sort of thing. How does the, let's look at the Bollinger Bands real quick. And B bands, dog. B bands are consolidating on the 4 hour. This looks like a really great buy to me. We're seeing higher lows, which indicates that the supply is being absorbed. We're seeing volume expansion on the rallies, volume contraction on the reactions. And again, the expansion of volume on the way up, and we're consolidating here. So I'm going to add this to my list of buys for me, not you. So, okay, we're pumping through these. So Nano, Litecoin, I'm gonna make a little list real quick. So we'll keep adding to it. So Ether, Litecoin, Nano. What was the other one? I feel like there's one more. Oh, EOS. EOS, I don't see a very clear buy signal right now personally, but that's just me. So these are the 4 currently watching. Maybe like we'll say 3.5. So 1, 2, 3, and then 4. 3.5 maybe. Let's look at a couple more. Yeah, so someone's asking to look at XRP. Let's look at XRP. XRP. Oops. Oops, I need to fix my fibs. Why is this here? Because, yeah, that's why. Okay. My dog's about to start barking. Just giving you a warning right now. My dog's about to start barking. So let's go ahead and look here. Is a bit of a supply line here, where previously it was getting rejected, and obviously we broke through it. But at the moment, it's consolidating. And we also see a bit of a trading range here, a reaccumulation trading range, something like, we can argue this, right? Reaccumulation, breakout. You could even argue this is reaccumulation, with this little bro right here being a spring of some sort. Like I was talking about how it can have the 2 tiers of the trading range. This looks like the lower tier of the trading range. But yeah, sponsorship has returned to this coin, it looks like. We see very good volume post-spring. We see a jump across the creek, another jump across the creek on high volume, and it looks very bullish right now. Consolidating in this little pennant kind of thing. Not the best setup, but it's pretty good. Ripple looks like a pretty good buy, in my opinion right now. My dog doesn't like Ripple. Yeah, I was like, yeah, let's check out Ripple. And she was just like, bruh. She was grumbling. All right, let's get a couple more, and then we'll bounce out of here. A couple more. What do you guys want to see? Do you set stop losses for alts? How close? Many seem to be getting long wicks occasionally. So this season, this like altcoin season, whatever you want to call it, I'm going to use a slightly different strategy. Because I trade on BitMEX, I'm only going to be using leverage on Bitcoin, maybe a couple of the futures contracts. But other than that, when I start buying the alts, and I identify them as being an accumulation or reaccumulation, I'm going to buy them and not set stops, because I'm not going to use leverage on them. I'm only going to buy the coins that I've identified to be strong candidates for markup, and play them on a more macro scale. So something like the 12-hour or the 6-hour, like BCH, for example, or Litecoin, like I'm going to hold on to those. Ether, I'm going to hold on to those. So I'm not going to set stops with those, but I'm going to monitor them every day and manage my risk that way. With these long wicks, something like this, setting stops is just asking to get your shit basically stolen from you, and I don't want that to happen to me. So I'm gonna play my alts a little differently this time, and only look at them through the lens of like a macro perspective, and what I've identified to be a very clear markup opportunity for a long-term play. Not necessarily like the hourly or the 2-hour long periods. I'll add to my positions on the hourly as I take profit from my margin position on Bitcoin and the futures contracts. But other than that, I'm going to be playing them on the larger time frames. Okay. XZC. What the hell is XZC? XZC. Oh, Zcoin. Ugh. What in the fuck is up with this chart? Are you serious? You wanted me to look at this? You're dirty. Why in the hell did you request this? Dude, what a volatile chart. What in the actual fuck? Okay. So it's like a trend with hair. It's like I just went through puberty and just like sprouting hair everywhere. Look at these wicks, dude. Every single candle is like a 50% wick on it. It's crazy. Hairiness aside, it does look like it's breaking out of it's testing a breakout of accumulation. It is making a diamond top here. So that's something to be careful about. So this could mean that it's not done accumulating and it's, making this little diamond top. So I would be careful of this. But it does look like overall it's in accumulation. The trading range being something like this. Then we see the spring here, the jump across the creek. So sponsorship entered the market here. But yeah, this is sketchy. So we could see a revisit at the bottom of the trading range. God, look at these wicks. This is fucking crazy. So Bruce Frazier has a general principle that when you see a jump across the creek, right, which is something like this, with a large injection of volume, widespread. So it jumps, if this is the creek, it jumps across the creek. Here's a general rule of thumb that you should really stay away from the last point of supports, slash BUEC, which is back up to the edge of creek. Anything that retraces more than 50%, you should really stay away from, because it means that there's still supply present in the market. So that could be why it's making this little diamond top here. So not saying it is going to come back down, but the price target for something like this, which is measured from the top to the bottom, would have it retesting the bottom of the trading range. So you know, buys down here might not be a bad idea for Zcoin. I noticed you're not using MACD and RSI much lately. Any reason? Yeah, I've kind of shifted my trading strategy away from oscillators because oscillators are great. Don't get me wrong. They do give you good signals most of the time, but personally, for my toolkit, I'm sticking with a more simple approach of just using just Bollinger Bands and just volume and price spread. Every now and then I'll glance at Ichimoku stuff to see on a macro perspective how it's looking. But overall, I'm shifting away from that kind of stuff because there's a lot of, there are so many ways to interpret the way an oscillator gives a signal. And I feel like I can get all the information I need from Bollinger Bands and trading ranges alone. So I'm trying to simplify my toolkit. I see a lot of people with like a shitload of these crazy indicators on there, which is great. You know, if that helps you with your trade strategy, that's awesome. But personally, I find that simple is better. And ever since I've simplified my toolkit, I've been trading a lot better and more consistently profitable. And it works better. It scales a lot better. So that's why. All right, let's do one more. Oh. So let's check on Cyclic, the golden pony. So Cyclic, how are we looking? God damn, that's a crazy wick. Okay. Cyclic has no chill apparently. So it looks like reaccumulation again. Seems to be a common theme here with, yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's pretty clear reaccumulation. So this would be preliminary support. This would be your spring. We can even see a smaller trading range in here. But on a macro scale, it looks like it's exiting. It obviously exited reaccumulation. Strong sponsorship post-spring. So we see a small injection of volume here, which propels it across the creek. So this is the creek, boom, boom. And here's another creek, boom. We see a sign of strength, sign of strength. And then on the macro perspective, this would be like major sign of strength here. Obviously, it consolidated in this reaccumulation trading range before it broke out with a strong show of volume here, and is currently consolidating. So let's take a look at the B bands. Let's see what they're. Why do I have so many? See what they're doing here. Okay, so the 6 hours fairly consolidated. 12 hour, not so much. So the 6 hour, it's looking pretty good. Pretty good. Currently finding resistance on the 6 hour midline. But overall, if we chop off that little bro, maybe look at the 30-minute. Yeah, so it's finding support on the previous, let's make this bigger. Finding support on the previous low. Looks like supply got shaken out here. You can see that buys are picking up here on the rally. This is kind of like a creek thing, you know, a little bit of a creek. We have yet to see the jump across the creek, but you don't always get that. You can just see the slow meandering of supply absorption, but that's what it looks like is going on over here. It looks like supply is being absorbed, but yeah, it looks like reaccumulation. We do see it like a shakeout kind of thing here, which would be like a spring of some sort. And then post spring, we see the volume expanding on the way up. So Cyclic looks really good. So all of that to the list. So what is the list growing to right now? We got Ether, Litecoin, Golden Pony / Cyclic. What was the other one? We had one more. I already forgot. I need to go back and watch the stream. Oh, be cash, be trash. So these look good. Yeah, these look like really great setups right now. I'm only playing the clean setups. Like, that's not to say that like all these other like random coins won't be profitable, but my personal trading strategy is that I like to I'm only waiting for like the really good setups. I don't want to waste my time and my capital elsewhere. I want to personally like set them on very good setups that are worth my time and effort. Like, there's so many fucking coins that like, if it's a mediocre setup, I'm not playing it. I'm only going to play the good ones. So missed Ripple? No, I didn't. Is Ripple? Did I say? Oh yeah, I did say that. Okay. XRP. XRP, maybe, if I recall correctly. Maybe. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that's good. That's probably good for now, right? What do you guys think? Of course, you're gonna be like, oh no, let's look at this random fucking altcoin. Looks like we're testing the edge of this this rising wedge here. So, oh yeah, I never looked at the like the 6-hour B bands. Let's look at this for Bitcoin. Why? What is this? Six-hour B bands are just like slowly coming together. Oops. 12-hour is consolidated. Okay. So all systems go for Bitcoin, right? From the 1 day all the way down to the 6-hour, and I would imagine the 4-hour as well. 4 hours is kind of choppy, but 6-hour, 12-hour, 1 day, and oh damn, even the 3-day. Holy shit, the 3 days consolidated. So big sustained move is likely for Bitcoin's future here. What does the weekly look like? Gross. The weekly is squeezing. Look at that shit, dude. That's crazy. Weekly never squeezes. Look at that. So we're getting a squeeze on the weekly. It's intense. So yeah, things are looking very bullish right now. Keep in mind, like I gotta say this, just like I tell everyone, you know, a setup is just a setup until it actually starts to play out. You know, you're hedging your bets here. We're not being like, oh, okay, it's making a bull pennant, so it's definitely going up. No, it's just a setup. Setups can be invalidated. Setups can be broken. They're subject to change. So, you know, if you play this bull pennant and it breaks down, don't come crying to me. I'm just showing you the setups here. I'm showing you what I'm looking for. I'm showing you what I'm personally trying to play, and the setups that everyone in my group is trying to play, which brings us full circle. If you guys want to, you know, be a part of this discussion on a 24-hour basis, then go to bitcoinschmitcoin.com and join my trading group. You know, I'm always in there. I'm always talking about the market. we're identifying this stuff together. So we have, hundreds of eyes on the market, looking at very different, various coins that have really great setups. And right now, since I'm leaning pretty bullish on Bitcoin, I'm looking into the altcoins now. I feel confident that my altcoin investments aren't going to be dicked over by Big Daddy Bitcoin. So I feel really good about it. What else can we say? What does the monthly candle look like? 1 month. Okay, so little tweezer bottom kind of thing. I don't know. Not a whole lot of information there. Anyway, go to bitcoinschmitcoin.com and join my trading group if you want this kind of stuff frequently, instead of just once a week or once every week and a half. Yeah? All right. Thanks, guys. And thanks to the subs on Twitch. Every little bit helps. And, if you guys like this content, drop a like, share it with your friends, share it on Twitter. The more the merrier. We'll have greater and greater discussions the more people participate. So anyway, you guys have a great rest of your week, and don't stare at the charts too long. All right. Bye-bye.